Hey, I want to answer this question that I got this weekend from one of my clients while I was doing her hair. I'm going to call her Kate so we can kind of keep everybody straight. And Kate is wondering if she should tell her friend Jake that his girlfriend Peyton has been cheating on him. So I'm going to give you this scenario. And the reason I want to give you this scenario is because then you can apply it to whatever you have going on. So here's what's going on. So Kate had heard that Peyton was hanging out with another guy at his house by herself. And she immediately jumped to the conclusion that Peyton was cheating on Jake, and she was wondering if she should go and tell him. And here's my answer. First part of my answer to her was questions, okay? So this is what I asked her, and I want you to ask yourself these questions. Is what you're about to tell him a fact? In this situation, Kate is just repeating a rumor. She does not know for sure that Peyton is cheating on Jake. Now, should Peyton be hanging out with another guy at his house alone? No, absolutely not. And it certainly does create a shadow of doubt that Peyton is doing something she ought not to be, okay? But it does not mean that she cheated. 2, did Peyton share with you that she was hanging out with a guy at his house by herself? No, she did not tell Kate that. It was a rumor. Now, the other thing is, the other question is why do you want to tell him? And she said, well, he's my friend. Okay, but why? Like, what do you stand to gain here? Do you feel like you're the hero in the situation, that you're, because you're, shedding some light in his life, that somehow he's going to be grateful? Because it doesn't usually work that way. And I have some personal experience here that I'll share with you in a minute. Later down the road, if what you tell them turns out to be true, they certainly might be somewhat grateful. But at the time, you have to think about what's going through their mind. There's an immediate fury of betrayal, right? They're angry, they're confused. Especially if Kate goes to Jake and says, Peyton's been hanging out with this guy at his house. Well, that doesn't specifically say that she's cheating, so all that actually creates a lot of confusion. And Jake doesn't know for sure, well, am I going to break up with her? Like, all it does is create an immense amount of questions in his mind. So it's not like he's going to give you a big hug and say, oh my gosh, you're just like my best friend ever. I'm so glad you told me. And, it doesn't work that way, okay? So she did admit that she kind of wanted to, be the hero. And don't do it for that reason, okay? Now, if you do see a person that is cheating, I mean, if she actually saw Peyton doing something that she shouldn't be doing, then yes, she should tell, okay? I'm kind of the belief that, like, if it were me, if I was Kate, and I was in that situation, I would actually go to Peyton and say, honey, you have 24 hours to tell Jake, and if you don't, then I will. Because I think you should give that person the opportunity to come clean. It's always a little better if you screw up that it comes from you instead of somebody telling on you, right? I mean, it's just always better, and then you're out of it. You don't want to be involved in this, okay? And I know that it's really enticing to try and get in the middle. It's all juicy and but you don't want to be involved. If you're excited to tell somebody that their significant other is cheating, then you have the wrong motives. You should feel like you're going to throw up. That's how it should feel, because it's like, I don't want to get in the middle of this, and this is going to cause pain, and, but, it has to be told if you really did see it, okay? So now I'm going to tell you how it is on the receiving end of it, because I have been in this situation. So, years and years and years ago, my now ex-husband, we were married at the time, this lady had come in and made an appointment for me to weave her hair. Well, that's a 2-hour appointment, and I didn't really know her. I knew of her. I knew that our husbands worked together. That's really all I knew. Well, her purpose to come in and have her hair done was to tell me that my husband, then husband, had a completely second life. That's fun. Because I was 2 months pregnant with our second little girl, and we had a 15-month-old little girl. Yeah, I'm not looking at her like, oh my gosh, thank you, you've like saved my life. No, like all the things that run through your mind are, how in the world am I going to deal with this? And my life that I thought I had is just been told to me that it's a complete lie. Now, this girl, oh, well, lady, she's not a girl. This lady, she didn't tell me because I needed to know. She told me because she thought it was fun. I will never forget the smug smile on her face. She just thought it was fun to tell me. Now, I certainly forgive her for that, but I do not have a high opinion of her. Okay? So keep in mind how you're going to be viewed, all right? Now, if your information is not very, very accurate, your reputation is on the line, okay? So that's why one of the reasons it's so important to be able to see it with your own eyes, because if it turns out that it's not true and you repeated it, how do you think you're going to be viewed? Not well. I can just tell you that, okay? So what ended up happening is Peyton didn't cheat on Jake. I heard about this later. Kate sent me a text. And so if she would have opened her mouth, it would have created a major problem. Now, again, Peyton shouldn't have been hanging out with another guy at his house by herself, and so she's, dealing with the trouble that she's in a little bit with Jake there, but Kate's out of it. She kept her mouth shut. She followed my advice. Not that my advice is always, wonderful, but do you get what I'm saying? You want to stay out of this stuff as much as possible. This is not an exciting thing to do, okay? Now, I also want to say, let's say you do end up telling this person that their significant other is cheating on them. Don't repeat it. Do it in private. Do it with an incredible amount of compassion. Tell only facts, never rumors, never gossip, none of it. Just facts. And then assure the person that you are not going to repeat it. That if the story comes out, that it will be up to them to tell it. Because it's not your story to tell. Okay? It just gets messier and messier and messier the more you talk. Okay?